Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi Theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We got three little image hover effects for you today. Got the first one here, which is a slow fade into another image, a bit like an image morph there. Then when I take my mouse on, it's going to slow fade back to the other image right there. And of course you can link these if you want to link them. This particular one, I've got it linked to a light box there. This second one, we've got another little image here, and we've got a toggle up on the right hand side. When I click on it, it's going to open some text and a title for us. When I click back off of it, it's going to go back to the image again. And the third one here, when I hover over it, it's going to fade in to a little blurb module. When I take my mouse off, it's going to go back out again. Really easy to do. There's no coding involved in this today. And there's some great little interactive effects to have on your website. I'll save this as a JSON file, and anybody that wants to can download it from the link below the video. Okay, well let's get started. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder. Once enabled, let's go down to where we want to work. I'll just create a new section and a new row, and we'll start from scratch. Little blue button for a section. I'm going to use a regular section. I'll use 3 columns, as that's what I used before. And this first one, I'm going to pop a little image module in there. And there's a little image module. And for my image, I'm using 2 images of the same aspect. You don't have to, but I'm doing it for this because it'll work better across different platforms for that if you want to do it. So I'm going to add my image. And let's perhaps start out with that one. And then what we want to do is have that one fade out into a different one. And the different one we're going to fade out is actually going to reside in the column that this is sitting in. So if I save this, we now go into the row, just hover anywhere over the little row here, the green box. Click up here, little green tab for the row, blue tab for a section, dark tab for a module. I'm going to go into the row. We've got 3 columns. We're working on column 1 here, column 2, column 3 under there. Just move this over here. So column 1, I want to add the image that we want to morph to. So we've got color, gradient, image, which is what I'm going to use, video, background pattern or background mask. I'm going to add the image that I want to this. Let's perhaps pop those cherries in. And I don't want any parallax. I want it to cover, I want it to be centered, and I don't want it to repeat. So that's all the default settings there. I'm just going to leave mine exactly like that now. So I'm going to save the column, save the row. We'll go back into the module. Now, which one do we want to see first? I guess I'd like to see this one first, and then when we hover over it, have it fade out into the cherries. So to do that, let's click on our little module here, the image module. Hit the little cog. I'm going to go over to Design tab and down to Filters. I'm going to roll all the way down in Filters to Opacity, which is transparency or see-throughness if you like. If there's a little arrow there, and this is common to all Divi modules, if you hover over the dark writing, you'll see some little icons appear. Go to the thing you want to affect, in my case the opacity here. There's a little arrow there. We can set a hover state and a desktop state. Now, desktop means when the mouse is not on it. Hover means when the mouse is on it. So when the mouse is not on it, I want to be seeing this image right here. When they put their mouse on it, I want it to slowly fade into the cherries right there. So hover, we've got that. When the mouse is not on it, we've got this. And to slow it down for a bit more drama, the transition time that it takes to go from one to the other with Divi hover effect wise is 300 milliseconds. That's pretty quick. I'm going to slow mine down for drama. So go over to the Advanced tab, down to Transitions. There's the 300. I'm going to make mine 3 seconds, which is 3000 milliseconds. You can type in a value, use the slider, or increment up and down with the little arrows here. If you use the slider and it doesn't go as far as you want it to, just type in the value you want. Don't want any transition delay. I want it to happen as soon as they put their mouse over it. And the transition speed curve I'm going to use for this today is ease in out. That's my kind of go-to for my hover effects. The only other thing is when I hover over that, we've got a little F6, which is actually the name of the image. Let's close up the Transitions tab, and still on the Advanced tab at the Attributes right there, you've got your image title text. Now if you don't want to see that little F6 or the name of the image when you hover over it, simply delete that. Great. Well, let's save our changes and take a look. Hit the little purple button, save draft or publish if you're ready, and let's exit the Visual Builder. Go on down, there's our little image. When I hover over it, it's going to take 3 seconds to fade out into that other image. When I take my mouse off, it's going to do the reverse, taking 3 seconds. So there's our first one, simple image right there. And of course your image, if I go back in there in a minute, let's enable the Visual Builder again. And let's roll down a bit. Of course the image itself, if you want it to pop out into a lightbox or link to somewhere, just go into the Dark tab for the Image Module. Under the first Content tab, we've got a link down below. I'm going to have mine open in a lightbox. If you don't want it to open in a lightbox and you want to take people somewhere when they click on it, you put an image down there. Always best practice if you're linking to your own site, keep it in the same window. If you're linking offsite to somebody else's, open it in a new tab. That way your site will stay open. Great, so I'm going to open mine in a lightbox and we're good to go with that first one. Okay, second one. I'm going to have a little toggle here that drops down with a bit of content. So I'm going to use a toggle module for that. I'm going to hit the Dark tab to add a new module. Divi comes with all these light grey ones as standard, plenty enough to build just about any site. The blue ones here are from a free plugin called Divi Supreme Light. And there's a playlist about that down below. We're not using that today, but if you want to learn more, have a look at the playlist. Okay, well let's use a little toggle right here. I'm going to put in a toggle. And the toggle gives you options. Let's roll this up a little bit. And the toggle gives you options. You've got a title right here. I'm going to leave mine on the default. Obviously you'd have some real text there. And some content down here. And when you click on the little icon up there, it's going to open up and show that to you. So we're going to do a similar thing. I'm going to leave that in there for a moment, and I want to put an image in the background again that we're going to see initially with just this little toggle. So let's save this. We'll go back into our row, the green section right here. We're working on column number 2 right now. Column number 2. Let's choose an image. So I'm going to go down to background. Going to go over to image again, choose a background image, and let's perhaps have that one. Great. Well, you may have noticed that you can't see it, or you may not have noticed because you can't see it that you can't see it. But that's because it's behind this little toggle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save that. I'm going to save our row settings. I'm going to go back into this module. I'm going to give it a minimum height so we can actually see that image behind it even when it's closed like this. So to do that, go into the module, we'll go over to design and sizing. Here we've got minimum height. So I'm using minimum because I don't mind it getting bigger, but I don't want it to be any smaller. So you can just drag this, the height that you actually want it. I think mine was about 320 worked for me. I'm going to make it similar to that one next door. Or maybe 321, 322. Looks about right to me. Great. Oh, we still can't see our image. It's because we've got a background on this closed toggle. Remember, this is closed, this toggle. When we open it, the content will appear. So to get rid of that background so that we can see the image, on our Design tab, go in and choose the icon color. Closed icon color. I'm going to make that white. Open icon color, I'm going to make that black, perhaps. You'll see now if I open it, that little icon is now black. You can choose different icons if you want to. There's a lot to choose from here. They've just integrated Font Awesome. But that's going to work for me, the plus and the minus. Great. Now here's the actual toggle itself. And we've got open toggle background color. I'm going to make that, say, let's make that purple. And closed toggle background color, I want it when it's closed. I don't want to see it at all. I just want to see the image. So if I make that transparent and we close this now, all you can see at the moment now is our title up there and the little toggle, and we get to see our image. So that's just what we want right there. We roll down a bit more. We've got the text itself, and we've got title text. Well, title text we've got on open and closed again. So when it's open, I'm going to have it white in color. When it's closed, I'm going to have it transparent, so we shouldn't see that title up there anymore. If I open it now, we should have white text, white title text up there. So let's go down and do our body text, which is just down below there. And with all text, same with the title, you can choose the fonts, whatever you want to use. Divi has a crazy amount of fonts. Just audition one by rolling over, it'll give you an example of it. And of course you can make it regular, bold, italicized. What I want to do here is make it white in color. And I think I'm going to pop it in the middle. There we go. Now I think I'm going to drop it down a bit. So I'm going back to the content tab, back to the text, the actual text box here. I'm going to put my cursor there and just hit the return. Great. Well, that's that one that should be working for us. I'm not going to save and look at this one because it'll be pretty much the same on the front end. And there it is. That's what we're going to see at the front, our picture of the wine, just with a little toggle up there. Okay, moving on to our next one. Let's add a new module. I'm going to use a Blurb module for this, purely because it's got a nice icon. I'm going to go down to the Blurb module right there. I'm going to leave the default title and text just exactly as it is. I'm going to roll down the image and icon just below. Let's move this so we can see what's going on. There's the Blurb image with a default placeholder for an image. I want to use an icon rather than an image. Let's see if they've got a knife and fork. There's close enough. There's knife and fork for me right there. Great. Down below, again, if you want to link this module anywhere, you can do that right here. You can link the title to one place and the module to somewhere else if you want to. Module, anywhere they click on it, it'll take them. Title, obviously, they've got to click on the title. Same best practices apply. I'm going to leave mine as is at the moment. Okay, background-wise, I'm going to give this a black background today. There we go. Now, I'm going to do exactly the same as we did with the others. I'm going to save this. I'm going to go into my row. We're working on column 3 now. So let's select an image for the background. Here's the image. And let's pop that one in perhaps. And again, we can't see it because it's actually behind our module here. That's great. We'll save our column settings, save the row settings. And let's now adjust our little Blurb module to how we want it. So I'm going to go in here, little cog. Like I said, I'm leaving the title and the content just as it is. I'm going to go over to my design tab now. Image and icon, I want it to be white. I want it to be a lot smaller perhaps. Image icon width, let's take it down to something like that, which is great. I want it to be in the middle. That's great. I want to be able to see my title and body text down here, and I want to make this the same height as our other one next door. So let's roll on down, and here's our text. I'm going to pop it in the middle, and I'm simply going to make it all light in color. Now you can style your text, your title text and your body text separately if you want to down below here as we did before. I'm going to leave mine just like that. I'm going to add a bit of spacing or padding. So I'm going to go down, still on the design tab, to spacing now. Padding, I'm going to give it like 30 pixel round. And I think I'll shave off a bit of that text there. It's a bit too much text. I think it's going to be too deep if I put 30 left and right. Yeah, it's pushing it down further than I want. So let's go to my content there, to my text. I'm going to shave off a bit of that text, perhaps right there. Now it looks a little bit shorter, but that's fine. We can give it a fixed height as we did with the first one. So let's go to design, down to sizing. And I think we use 322 for the minimum height. So I'm just going to simply type 322. It'll put in the pics for you. And now it's the same size as our other one right there. Now initially, again, I don't want to see any of this. I just want to see the background image there. None of this text. So still on the design tab, we'll go to our filters. down to opacity again, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. Hit the little arrow. Desktop, I don't want to see it at all. So I'm going to take that down to 0, so we just got our salad picture. When they hover over it, I'm going to bring it back up to 100%. And the time it actually takes to do that, I'm going to go over to the advanced and change it, transition, to perhaps 3/4 of a second, 750 milliseconds. And again, I'm going to use ease in, ease out. Now we're on the hover state at the moment. I'm just going to go back to our background down here. Now I've got a solid background on there. If you wanted to see some of the image behind that as well when we're hovering over it, just click on the color, and this right hand slider is opacity. We can take that down a bit so you can still see a bit of the image but read the text nicely, which works great for me. You can still read that text fine and see a bit of the image hint underneath. Don't forget we're on hover state at the moment, so we don't see anything when we're on regular desktop state. Should be that. Great. Well, let's save our changes now. Save the page changes. And exit the Visual Builder. Go on down to where we were working, which is just below here. Here's our first one, which should be a slow image fade. There we go, over 3 seconds. When I take my mouse off, it's going to take 3 seconds to go back. Second one right here, we've got a picture of some wine. Got a little toggle. When I click on it, it's going to pop in some info and a bit of title there. When I hit the toggle, it's going to disappear again. And the third one right here, simple hover effect. When I hover over it, our little info is going to pop up like that. When I take my mouse off, it's going to disappear again. And there's some great little interactive effects to have on your site. Really easy to do. Like I say, no coding involved in this today. And they're very eye-catching. So there we go, guys. And don't forget, you can download this layout as a zip file from a link below the video. You'll have to unzip it and then upload it to your Divi. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them down below. I'll do my best to answer them or make a demo video for you. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.